Today's video is about why acceleration is the foundation of speed and why nothing sticks without it. If you're a parent watching this, there's a good chance you've felt this before. Your athlete trains consistently, they put in the work, and they might even test well. But speed feels inconsistent for them. Some days they look fast. Other days they look like nothing has changed. And over time, it feels like progress never really sticks. That experience leads most parents to one of two conclusions. Either they need to train harder, or speed just comes and goes and it's more of a natural genetic thing. In reality, neither of those are true. What usually breaks down is an effort. It's the foundation that speed is built on. And the foundation is acceleration. Most people think acceleration just means getting fast quickly. But acceleration isn't just about speed. Acceleration is about how force is projected in the first few steps. It's about where the body is positioned, where force is directed, and how efficiently the athlete moves their center of mass forward. If that projection is off early, speed never stacks correctly later. That's why acceleration isn't just one part of speed. It's the base everything else sits on. In real sport environments, most meaningful speed actions happen early. The first step to close space. The first few steps to separate. The first movement out of a stance or reaction. Those moments usually occur inside the first 3 to 10 yards. If an athlete struggles there, they arrive late, they compensate with more effort, they lose efficiency, and they fatigue faster. Even if they eventually reach decent top speed, the damage is already done. Acceleration determines access to speed. Acceleration posture is one of the most misunderstood pieces when it comes to speed. Many athletes either stand too upright too early or collapse forward without control. Both create problems. When posture is too upright, force goes upward instead of forward. Steps lose horizontal projection. Speed becomes vertical, which is not useful. When posture collapses, balance breaks, energy leaks, rhythm disappears. Good acceleration posture allows force to travel horizontally, not vertically. This isn't about looking aggressive. It's about positioning the body so force actually moves the athlete forward. Most athletes are told to move their legs faster. That's not acceleration. Acceleration is about projecting the center of force, center of mass forward. If projection is poor, steps get choppy, ground contact becomes inefficient, speed feels forced instead of smooth. You can't outleg speed poor projection. This is why some athletes look like they're working incredibly hard, but not actually going anywhere. This is where things get confusing for parents and for athletes. Sometimes an athlete suddenly looks fast. They turn it on. They play with urgency. They chase hard. That's intent masking poor mechanics. Intent can temporarily override inefficiency, but it never lasts. That's why speed appears one day and disappears the next. If speed only shows up when effort spikes, the foundation isn't stable. This is one of the biggest traps in youth athletic development. When speed feels inconsistent, the response is usually more reps, more drills, more sessions. But volume doesn't fix mechanics. It reinforces them. If posture and projection are off, doing more work just deepens the problem. That's why athletes can train year-round and still feel like nothing sticks and they don't get faster. Acceleration influences far more than straight line speed. It affects top end speed access, change of direction efficiency, braking control, energy conservation, fatigue resistance. If acceleration leaks, everything downstream leaks. That's why you can't skip it, rush it, or treat it as a warm-up. Most programs don't ignore acceleration. They just don't build it correctly or even know how to build it. Common mistakes include treating acceleration as a drill instead of a skill, coaching effort instead of mechanics, spending more time on ladders or cones than projection, rarely revisiting acceleration once the season starts. Acceleration becomes situational instead of reliable. Good acceleration development isn't flashy. It involves frequent revisiting of first steps, continuous posture refinement, progressive projection demands, intentional integration with fatigue. Acceleration is never done. It's maintained, refined, and reinforced. When acceleration isn't stable, speed shows up only when fresh, confidence fluctuates, mechanics degrade under fatigue, and effort increases but efficiency drops. Parents interrupt this with inconsistency. In reality, it's structural instability. Games don't allow perfect setups. Athletes must accelerate from imperfect positions, after braking, after reacting, and under fatigue. If acceleration was only trained in ideal conditions, it won't survive game chaos. This is where speed disappears. If you want to know whether acceleration is truly being developed, ask these questions. How are the first steps coached? How often is acceleration revisited? How is posture corrected over time? How has projection progressed? And how does acceleration show up later in sessions? If those answers aren't clear, speed won't stick because training finally has a base. When acceleration is solid, speed becomes repeatable. Confidence stabilizes, progress accumulates, effort becomes efficient. That's when development actually compounds. Speed doesn't just come and go. Foundations do. Acceleration is a base that determines whether speed is temporary or durable. When the base is built correctly, everything else starts to make sense. If speed has felt inconsistent, the answer usually isn't more effort. It's building the proper foundation.